how do you handle students that don't take responsibility for participating? Examples, they do the work, why do they need to come to class? Dealing with staff who believe they are always right and they never make mistakes. Dealing with those who blame others and don't take responsibility for their own behavior. And then instructor plus students, and students must.
I think that's, here's what I know.
I totally skipped that. I'm sorry.
So did I, so I apologize.
Okay, well those going back to what we know, instructor and students must be aware of this attitude, create self-assessment centered around positive attitude, and students need to be encouraged.
I think we have one more question. How do you put multi-intelligence into action? Thanks, Martha.
Yep. Sit down.
So, key theme here in our questions really has to do, from what I'm garnering, is the whole negativity piece. Do we make assumptions sometimes, even here at Alverno, when people come into class, do you think? Yeah. And are we, well, we all know what happens with assumptions, right?
Exactly.
Right. Gets me in trouble every time. So, here at school and in the work setting, inevitably, we do run across someone who feels more resistant or is outwardly negative. What are some strategies for dealing with that? Because it's a reality. Has anybody had something successful? Alicia?
Well, I'm just thinking, I just think maybe if you go and talk to the person to, express your feelings, maybe you may have just, blew things out of proportion.
Okay.
I don't know, but I was thinking of something that related to one of those questions that happened to me when I moved here with my son. We came to Milwaukee late in the year, so I registered him at MPS, and he had to go to Brown Street School. And my son has a cognitive disability, and he didn't, as some kids, if you don't know a person, you don't easily go to him. He didn't talk around people he didn't know. And I expressed this to the teachers when I put him in the school. So the teacher was very negative. She called me one day and she said, "I think William is retarded." And I started to curse her out and say all this and that, because that's what I was thinking. But I said even a dog could learn. And I just thought about that. So in this, but at school, someone had cut my son's pants with some scissors. And the child's name was a difficult name. So I said, "I've been meaning to talk to you anyway about some things that have been going on in the classroom." And after I told her what the little boy had done, "Oh, well, he's not stupid. Because how could he think of a name, like that?" And I'm thinking, I told you in the beginning, if my son doesn't know you, and also if you yell, he jumps. So he wasn't familiar with you, or you said he didn't know you. But I think I could have handled it better, because I should have maybe went to the board or went to the principal to talk to him about her. But what I did for me was just pull him out of the school and put him in a special school, which was better, because my son could read and do all the things that she said that he couldn't do. But just that negative attitude from her, but I still think I should have addressed her, or let the school know what was going on. This is how she was handling it, because first of all, you're in a special education setting. You're supposed to be there to help the kids, not yell at them. I know the money is better in special ed, but everybody's not equipped to teach special ed.
Right. Fair point.
Something else.
Yeah.
I had a trainee who was really overwhelming and taking over the class almost always. And at some point, she had been reviewed and talked about with this. But the only thing that helped was I made her my training assistant.
Okay. So enlist help?
Yeah, she just she seemed bored. Maybe that's why she was trying to take over. It was always a problem. I asked her to help me, and that helped.
Okay, so enlisted her help and maybe gave her a purpose.
Yeah.
Okay, so really practical example. Thank you.
I have a coworker, and there are two of us in our department. We do the same job, and she is extremely negative, to where everything she says is negative. Whereas if it's really nice outside, yeah, but it's going to rain tomorrow. But she's like that.
Okay.
So-and-so is, she's that negative. I heard so-and-so is going to retire, yeah, but I heard they're sick. They probably retired because they're sick, So initially, she's like that. So initially my response was to, kind of avoid, having conversation with her, but I can't. So what I did is I just established guidelines with her, and I told her, if you come to me with a problem, or even if we're having a discussion, and you have a complaint or a problem about it, then you have to provide a potential solution. And so she doesn't come, she does a lot of stuff, but she doesn't have a solution.
Right.
So, but that's something that I said, you know what, you're really negative in your comments or your outlook on everything. So in order for us to work together, you can't walk away and have left just the negative or the complaint. You have to provide the solution. So she laughs at me and she's like, oh, happy thoughts. What do you have to say, happy thoughts? I'm like, that's fine, but so I just think that's a suggestion. If you work with someone who's negative, and that's all they can see is the negative part of it or what's wrong, then say, you know what, just out of our working relationship or whatever, let's just make sure that we don't leave it with what's wrong. Try to think of something. If it's going to rain tomorrow, then is it going to be, when will it be sunny again?
I think there's laughter because I think we all have we all have had some experience with somebody like that, and it's a challenge. And if you're facilitating a training session, or how do I take care of that particular person so that the rest of the class doesn't feel diminished or that it's a waste of time? So you think about it from that perspective. But if it's a coworker or someone who's a direct report, if you're a manager, again, we need to think about what do we own, because we can't change that person's attitude, right? The only thing we can really change is our approach and take a step for us to do something different. In Beth's case, invited her in a different way to help assist in the class. In Anissa's case, set up a boundary. I mean, there aren't easy answers for these types of things. I think the point is for us to share what we've learned and to realize that even Wilkowski has questions about these things. But we want to be aware that, I really need to, I need to pay attention to this differently. Hopefully I'll recognize it sooner. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of slow on the uptake sometimes. So it might take a couple times of an interaction with a student or a colleague before the light bulb goes on for Carol, and she's like, I might have a problem here. I just, that's not the first place I go. So I'm not always the fastest to recognize it. So.
If I can just add one more thing, if you do have a training and you have someone who is just all day, they're continuously negative, then I think what you can kind of respond to them with, well, what do you think we can do to improve that? And I think their complaining is going to be short-lived because it'll be, when they don't have a solution, it's going to be evident to everyone in the room that all they want to do is complain. And so they'll perceive that, and I think that they will, soon stop with complaining about everything.
And I have been in situations, to Alicia's point, where we did have to pull somebody out of a multi-day group activity. No matter what we tried, including the consultants who were helping us with that particular intervention, we couldn't move that person off the dime. So rather than jeopardize the experience of everybody else in the group and jeopardize the potential success of the project, that person was just removed. I mean, so it can go to those extremes as well. But hopefully, by the classes you're taking, the suggestions in the Wilkowski book helps us to think more about how might I approach this, and gives us some more tools in our toolkit. Because obviously different things work in different situations. Mark?
I was just going to say, not to the negative extent of your coworker, but when I was just a rep at work, we would have these one-on-ones with our managers, but they were like the same every week. It was like the same 3 questions. Do you need anything from